But now we'll move to a 20,000-foot view of the energy system for the coming year, one in which it will simultaneously begin the steady recovery from COVID. At the same time, policymakers around the world aim to seize this moment in the pursuit of climate action. For that, it is my pleasure to welcome Fatih Birol, the Executive Director of the International Energy Agency and an Atlantic Council International Advisory Board member. Fatih, your sessions have always been among the most popular and well-attended of any at any of our forums, because you provide what policymakers and the industry most need with your scene setters: factual, real-world insights into the present and into the future. I'm also proud that you contributed an essay to our inaugural The Global Energy Agenda report, which will be launching right after your talk. And I hope people will stay on for the panel that follows your scene setter, Fatih, because you'll be on that panel with Indian Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas, Dharmendra Pradhan, OPEC Secretary General Mohammed Barkindo, who we always love hearing, Pulitzer Prize-winning author Dan Yergin, and the former chair of the California Air Resources Board, Mary Nichols. That's a great all-star cast. But Fatih, why don't you kick us off? We're really looking forward to hearing your remarks. And good to see you in Paris.
Thank you very much, Fred. And dear colleagues, greetings to all of you from IEA headquarters in Paris. My congratulations to Fred and the Atlantic Council, despite all the circumstances, to bring us together from different parts of the world in this very important meeting, and with such a ambitious agenda and with so many high-level speakers. Very much appreciated. Now, what I would like to do in the next few minutes is first to talk about the impact of COVID on oil and producer economies especially, but also to give some highlights, the expectations for 2021 and what the IEA is going to do this year. Now, COVID is a major, unprecedented impact on energy, as we all know. Just to all of us to understand how big the impact is in total energy, our report shows that in 2020, global energy demand declined about 5%. 5%. And what does it mean, 5% decline? Is it big or small? It is very big. To understand it better, we all remember, it is still fresh in our memories, the 2008-2009 financial crisis. Global energy demand declined after that crisis as well. But the 2020 decline is 7 times deeper than the decline we had after the financial crisis. It had a major impact for all energy sources. But oil got the biggest hit. Some of you may remember the month of April, when oil demand started to decline sharply. And some of you may recall, beginning of April, I said, this 2020 April may well go in the history of the oil industry as Black April. Indeed, a couple of weeks later, we have seen for the first time negative oil prices. And oil, leave aside the critical importance in energy supply, as a key parameter for the global financial system, gave some alarming signals, which could have devastating impacts for the global economy. So it is the reason IEA has pledged the Saudi G20 presidency to organize an extraordinary meeting of the energy ministers. And I believe ministers coming together under the presidents of Saudi Arabia came together, gave a strong signal and provided the oil markets and financial markets much needed stability and gave some strong signals. And I would like to here thank Minister Mazri for his positive contributions that came out this G20 presidency. Now, one big debate in the oil market starting from April, May, whether or not we have seen the peak oil demand in 2020 and oil demand will never come back to those levels and will not rebound again. Many thought leaders, including the leaders of the several major oil companies, said we have reached the peak oil demand. But again, the International Energy Agency said that we don't think so. If the governments do not take measures, political measures in terms of the oil consumption, transportation sector, petrochemical sector, and others, once the economy rebounds, so will the global oil demand. Because some people thought teleworking, changing some habits, changing some parts of our daily lives would lead to structural decline of oil demand. Indeed, once again, the IEA was right, IEA and the people who thought like this, and we are seeing the rebound of oil demand. Of course, it is too early to say when we will come to the levels of 2019, but there are some very pertinent data points. One example is China. China was the first country where we have seen COVID impacts in terms of health. China was the first country where we saw the economic impacts, energy impacts, and China is the first country where we see an economic rebound, pandemic being under control. And today, as we speak now, Chinese oil demand is higher than the numbers we had last year, and even close to 2019 levels. So the other countries where we see pandemic gets under control and the economy starts to rebound, and we expect the global economy will rebound significantly this year, we may well see the oil demand rebounds strongly together with other energy sources, again, in the absence of major government policies put in place. So this is one issue to put the things in a context. The peak oil demand will need much more than teleworking, changing our some of our daily habits. It needs changes in the technologies, structural policy interventions from governments. Having said that, this year, decline in the oil demand costed many producer countries a lot. Our numbers show that in 2020, the consumers have spent $1 trillion less than the year before, which means many of the producing countries faced additional challenges because of the lower demand and lower oil prices. And this is something we need to see. And only in the Middle East countries, the revenues from oil is halved compared to year before 2019. Looking a bit further, just a heads up from our point of view, we think that the oil demand will not, even in the absence of major policy changes in the governments, will not grow as much as we have seen in the past. We rather expect around 5-6 years of time after this rebound, after the crisis, oil demand being rather flat. And this, once again, as we said several times, brings an urgent message to many governments around the world, namely diversification of their economies. And this is as urgent as before, if not more, mainly as a result of the points I am going to make in a moment, as a result of the clean energy transitions, which is coming very, very strongly. Now, oil, similar to oil, gas, and coal demand declined substantially. Only one energy source we have seen was immune to the impacts of COVID last year. What was that? It was renewables. Renewables did increase in terms of the absolute values in the year 2020, both solar and wind, as a result of, again, government policies and as a result of being very cheap. And solar especially is growing very strong. And I have, when I release our renewable market report, I look at the numbers of the electricity generation around the world, new capacity coming in the markets. I told my colleagues, we can now crown solar as the new king of global electricity markets, because only last year, half of the power plants installed in the world was solar. Other half, everything else put together, coal plus gas plus nuclear plus wind, hydro, 50%, solar alone, 50%. And of course, we all know that the Middle East is one of the fortunate regions which enjoys good quality of solar, which can be a wonderful source of electricity generation and other energy uses. So emissions last year also declined substantially, about 7%. And again, there was a hope, and people were happy that it declined 7%. But this decline, 7% decline of emissions, that everybody wants to see in the world, the emissions decline, for us, it was not a result of policy changes, putting new technologies in place. It was mainly because of the economic downturn and pandemic. If we wanted to see a structural decline, again, new policies are needed. And going back to China example, again, as we speak now, Chinese emissions are rebounding, and they are significantly higher than the year 2019. So why I'm talking about China? Because it's the first country which is rebounding in terms of economy, in terms of having the pandemic under control. 2020, we will hopefully see the world will have, thanks to the vaccines, thanks to the many governments' great efforts around the world, will be under control. Global economy will rebound, and energy sector will be again standing on its feet. But I believe the scars the COVID pandemic left will be with the energy industry for many years to come. This is the 2020. I wanted to share some thoughts. 2021, it is a pivotal year for the energy sector and for our fight against climate change. There are many reasons for that, but I want to highlight only one. Many governments around the world, European Union, United Kingdom, Japan, Korea, Canada, Brazil, and soon, I believe, United States, they are making commitments together with China, net zero emissions by 2050. And this will have huge implications for the energy sector. In fact, climate challenge is essentially an energy challenge because more than 80% of the emissions causing climate change comes from the energy sector. Those pledges and the policies governments will put in place to reach their targets, to reach their commitments, will have substantial implications for the global energy markets and in a rapid way. Many governments, I said, came up with this 2050 target. And as I have announced last week, International Energy Agency, at the request of COP presidency, President of COP, Mr. Alok Sharma, is preparing a major study, the first in the world, to see what is the world's roadmap to reach net zero for 2050 and what kind of implications it will have for the energy markets. What does it mean for oil industry? What does it mean for the investment flows? What does it mean for renewables? And this is a serious issue. And I believe no country, no government, oil producing government, gas producing government, companies, nobody will be unaffected from the clean energy transitions. We like it or not, it will affect everybody around the world as a result of the effects of the diffusion of clean energy technologies, financial measures governments will take, including the clean energy emphasis on many $trillion value of stimulus packages. It is the reason we wanted to bring this roadmap. We are going to publish it on 18th of May to work to see, energy work to see, what are the implications of the governments around the world who are committing themselves for 2050. I say 2050, but of course, we will look at the next year, 2030, 2040, all the years, what are the implications there. And here, since we are not able to, unfortunately, be in person in Abu Dhabi, one of the key centers in Middle East, I wanted to say that it will have huge implications on the economies and the social life of the countries in that region. Many governments, I know, including the Emirates, are taking measures in order to diversify their economies. Not only Emirates, but the Saudi Arabia, Oman, many countries are doing this. But the question is whether or not the pace that they are diversifying the economies are aligned with the pace of the governments pushing clean energy transitions. Finally, I would like to say that to sum up, climate change is a huge challenge for all of us. And I expect, as Fred just said, tomorrow is the inauguration of the new US administration, with the new US administration taking climate change as a centerpiece of many economic and the policy decisions they are going to have, will give an enormous momentum, additional momentum to this very issue. Middle East countries, oil producers are all distinguished members of the international community. And climate change is one of the top challenges for the international community. And to fight against climate change, to be on the right side position those countries and governments in a timely manner on the right place is not only an issue of reputation, is not only a moral obligation, but I believe if we don't do so, it is a major economic or commercial risk for oil producers around the world. Thank you very much, Fred, giving me this opportunity, and I am very much looking forward to join my distinguished panel members to elaborate these issues further. Thank you.